why do you feel there are so many souls who do not even question themselves about the awareness part? They never even get to know that they have some negativity, some dirt inside all of them, and which I think breaks them for moving towards their own growth and their own purity as a soul.
One is very benign form of ignorance, which simply is that I don't know something, right? So now we have a tool called Google or something, and we can just go up online and check and get the information. The other aspect of ignorance is that I don't even have the impetus in me to figure out or find out. And then the third kind is that I know something and I very strongly believe that what I know is the real deal without even exploring it.
That's our ego?
Yes.
We've talked about Ma Green Tara. I've also read these deities are represented by different colors, like red Tara Ma. So what do they actually represent, and why different colors are given to their names?
Red is generally associated with magnetizing energy and power, so it can be also associated with desire. So when desire is totally purified, it is very magnetizing, it's very attractive. So Aryatara in the red aspect is bringing you that kind of a power and energy. Green is associated with swiftness.
Hello everybody, this is your host Rangoli Sharma and welcome back to another enlightening episode of your favorite spiritual podcast, Speaking Tree. In today's wholesome conversation, we've touched few aspects of Buddhism, and I feel Buddhism calls people a lot. So many people relate to Buddhism, maybe because of the practical approach. We've talked about Buddhist Tantra, we've talked about Ma Tara, we've talked about renunciation, we've talked about true enlightenment from a Buddhist perspective. So if Buddhism calls you as well, this is the podcast for you. And by the end of this podcast, we've also done a little meditation technique which you can do at any time of your day and align the mind, body and soul. And before starting the podcast, let me tell you, today's beautiful look is sponsored by Isadora Life. And now, I would like to introduce to you our guest for today, Barkha Madan on Speaking Tree, the journey of Gyalten Samten from Barkha Madan. Ma'am, welcome to Speaking Tree. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
It's my pleasure to be here with you, Rangoli. Thank you for having me here.
And I'm already feeling very calm, very composed, just sitting in your presence. And while I was researching on you, while I was watching your podcast, I could feel that healer energy. And I was just preparing myself for this wholesome Buddhist conversation today. And as I told you off the camera, I was just reciting Om Mani Padme Hum throughout the day because I was very excited for this episode. And it's truly wonderful to finally see you here.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm actually very happy that whatever you saw from the previous podcast has inspired you to recite this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. I think it's a very healing and a calming mantra. So, thank you.
Definitely, ma'am. And as I said in the introduction itself, that so many people relate to Buddhism a lot. They feel their calling in Buddhism, maybe because of the practical approach and the deeper understanding of it. Today we'll have from you. I think this podcast will give a deeper clarity of what Buddhism actually stands for, what truly enlightenment is, what truly renunciation means. And before we move on to these topics, from you only, I would like to know your journey, this path from the glamorous world of films and cinema to this life. What called you on this path? Was it a seed from some previous life? What do you feel?
Wow. Definitely there has to be some seed from the previous lifetime. And also I feel much of it is cultivated in this particular lifetime. And we are all born with our own karmic disposition, as I say.
True.
And we often get these triggers in our everyday life. We have these questions. What's freedom? What's my purpose of life? What am I doing on this planet Earth? Am I just here to make a good name and fame for myself? Or there is more to my life than this? And I had similar kind of thoughts in my head. And at a very young age, I was about 10, when I had my first brush with the so-called Buddhist temple was in Sikkim in Rumtek.
Yes.
And that left a pretty strong, indelible mark on my mind. And it was very instantaneous when I was there that I told my mother that, could you leave me here, please? I like it here.
Wow.
But, who's going to take a 10-year-old seriously? And she said to me that only monks can live in a monastery. And I said to her in all my naivety, so make me a monk.
Wow, you said that?
Yes.
As a 10-year-old?
As a 10-year-old. And then she said, only boys become monks. And please get in the car, we have to get home. And that thought stayed in my head that what is a boy and what is a girl? As a 10-year-old girl, I did not have this distinction between boys can't do this and girls can't do this. This whole gender disparity. This concept wasn't there in my head. And so I started to question, what does it mean to be a boy? And is it just my physical appearance that decides whether I can do something or not? So that was one aspect of it.
Okay.
And what really interested me or pulled me to study and to embrace Buddha Dharma was, one, I was inquisitive. I had lots of questions. Second, my interaction with His Holiness Dalai Lama. That was in early 2000. So it was a very heart-moving, sort of life-changing,
soul-moving
moment for me.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of it now, it kind of fills me up, Just to go back a little bit, I was on a vacation with my family in Goa, and we met a foreigner there, an elderly person, and it was New Year's Eve, and my mom said, this person is kind of by himself, just invite him on our table. And well, we did so, and then we got to know that he's a Buddhist scholar and he's here to study Buddha Dharma. And that made me sit up and take notice. And I said, what do you mean to study Buddha Dharma? And can we really do this? He said, of course. And he says, I'm going to Dharamsala. And His Holiness Dalai Lama would be giving teachings for good about 10 days. It's open to public. And you can come. I registered myself and I went there. When I was sitting in the audience, His Holiness in those days would walk from his residence, his palace, to the monastery teaching ground and take his throne. Alongside, there were many new immigrant Tibetans, who would usually gather there to take his blessings. And there was a very elderly lady, and she was reciting Om Mani Padme Hum.
Wow.
And there's a prayer wheel in her hand, and very feeble hands. She was doing her mantras like this, and she was. So as His Holiness approached, this old lady bent forward to touch his feet, to take his blessings.
Yeah.
And the attendants of His Holiness just kind of pushed her back, because it is not considered okay to just approach the High Lama, without a proper protocol. And she just kind of went back and she just put her hands together and she said, Kundun Gonda.
What does that mean?
It means Kundun, which I got to know later, means presence to His Holiness, also like gold-like presence. And Gonda means apologizing. I'm sorry, forgive me, asking for forgiveness. So she was apologizing that she even made an attempt to touch somebody so pure. His Holiness had already crossed her. He probably heard these words and he came back. He went on his knees and lifted this old lady. And as a blessing, touched his forehead to hers. She was crying. She was in tears. I was watching this whole thing and I was moved to tears. And what it brought alive for me was that what we call Guru devotion. How beautifully and how sincerely she's devoted to her Guru, that she's really very old, that she's taken this artist journey all the way from the high mountains of Tibet to have a glimpse of her living Guru, the living Buddha. And His Holiness recognizes that, and he honors that devotion in his heart. So all of this was transpiring that in front of my eyes, and I was so moved. And when I later realized what the word presence means, it got me thinking, what does it mean to embody compassion in a way that it just your presence brings a sense of immense calm?
True.
Just your presence brings just a sense of immense relief, or a sense of being protected or loved. Just your mere presence. So it jolted me back and said, I want to learn everything His Holiness does.
Really?
I wish to be that presence in somebody's life. Just your mere presence makes the person smile, or encourages them to do good things. Just that. And while I was there, all these questions I had in my mind about what is the purpose of my life, what is freedom, all of that were somehow being answered in that particular teaching.
The bigger questions that you as a child were having since childhood.
Yes. Of course, when we see, it kind of appeals to a lot of people. Oh, I had this very glamorous profession and it had its own perks and everything. I sometimes question, if I was not in this profession, would my life journey be that exciting or encouraging for somebody else? Would it become a conversation for, a topic for discussions for a gathering? Oh, so-and-so actor has become a nun. What if I was not an actor? Would it still be that?
Would it still matter?
To me, I don't think it would matter. I would have been anybody. I would have still found my way here.
True.
It's just that I was in that profession. So like you said, maybe it was a fruitioning of some karma from the past life. And for me, it was a big trigger when I was a child. And I didn't let go of that trigger. I worked upon it very consciously. I always kept it on my back burner mental shelf, thinking like whenever the opportunity arises, I will work on it. So somewhere the subconscious mind was always seeking, You can say the seeds of renunciation were perhaps there. It just had to meet an outer condition for it to flourish inside.
And maybe as we were discussing, this life was also a part of some karma that you had to go through, and then this life was waiting for you. Your soul journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are various causes and conditions that make anybody's life together. It is not linear.
Exactly.
And I don't think karma has to be approached in a linear or in a black and white way. Then we are kind of missing out or not really understanding in its totality.
100%. And now that we talked about renunciation, I think the basic idea that people have is that you give up on everything and nothing belongs to you, you belong to nothing. But on a deeper level, I would love to understand from you, for my audience, what renunciation actually is from a Buddhist perspective. And can a layman cultivate renunciation while living a materialistic life? Is that possible?
Oh, wow, that's a pretty loaded question. Yes. So first of all, renunciation, it's the basic foundation. As a Buddhist practitioner, the ideal here, the motivation here is to, get yourself out of the samsaric cycle. So, which is the cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death, The foundational aspect of it is renunciation. And the outer appearance is to give up. But what will you give up? You can only give up what you have.
Exactly.
You cannot give up what you don't have.
Truly.
So as people say, when I get this, I will then leave this and then do that. When I am this many years old and I have seen the life in the world, I will leave and then I will start my spiritual practice. Right? So they have these preconditions, and I will leave it when I will leave my material life when I've attained my sense of achievement in it.
Truly.
Right, let me first accomplish something to be able to leave. So a very lopsided definition,
Something very deep.
So renunciation basically is not just the idea of giving up material wealth or your beautiful clothes or your family life or whatever. It is to give up the attachment to it. You can have your cake and eat it too, just to not be grasping at it. It is the grasping aspect that keeps us bound to samsara. It's not your beautiful sari, it would be your attachment to your sari that binds you to a materialistic samsaric life.
Yeah, that makes you keep taking rebirths after rebirths.
Yes. So now, many a times, like the question has just come, is it possible for a layperson? I was a layperson, but I am now a Buddhist nun, right? I had a very strong karmic disposition. I had a very strong connection with a very kind, very enlightened master. So I'm on this path full-fledgedly. But what if someone doesn't have it? How do you check the markers? In your everyday life, you can see if I am partaking into anything. For example, now is a festivity time.
True, yeah.
Everybody's shopping mindlessly. Everybody has made festivities a transactional way of fulfilling some formality, or being accepted.
Yeah, and being happy.
And it is not. We can check it. Do I really need this? Or am I just giving in to my whims and fancies? Do I really need another pair of shoes in my closet? Do I really need another pair of jewelry? Do I really need to upgrade to another cell phone? Or am I just feeding into what the materialistic sound goes on? This makes you look good. This makes you look powerful. This makes you look you've arrived. If you are able to intercept it, then slowly you can make your way out of it. So having material things is not the problem. Grasping at it and thinking by having them is when I am powerful, I am respected, I am loved, or I am somebody. That's the problem. So a layperson can also practice renunciation by keeping these markers in mind. Why am I doing it? And this is one aspect of giving into material things and, impulse of buying more and more or hoarding more and more. How many houses can a person live at one time?
Only one.
And one room.
Yes.
And a bed of 6x4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But imagine how many, a holiday home here and a holiday home there. And
this much I possess.
And a farmhouse here and a farmhouse there. Endless. And then it translates into our relationships also. How are we connecting with our loved ones? How do we connect with our colleagues? How do we connect with our neighbors? How do we connect with society in general? Everything is transactional. What is in for me? And then if you bring this morning, you wake up and you reflect, how must I begin my day? We just did a very small meditation before we began this, right?
We did.
You very sweetly asked, let's do something. It was creating a positive intent.
Yeah.
We created a little energy cauldron here, right? And you felt good, I felt good.
Yeah.
Imagine doing this as you wake up in the morning, setting an intention for the day. And as you progress on building on that particular intention, you will see the seed of renunciation, which is already there, will start to ripen. And it is not about neglecting or not caring about your things or your relations. It's about caring enough that not to be possessive about them, not to be grasping at them, not to be dependent on them to say and feel, now I'm powerful or I'm happy.
Is it, I think, while I was understanding all of this, one thing that came to my mind very strongly was that it's somewhere equivalent to living in a state of moksha, like a living moksha that Hinduism talks about. That the ultimate goal of our soul is to attain that, divine union. And I think that is happening every moment of our life if we let go of the attachment.
Yes, attachment is one aspect of it. And it's not the only layer of the foundation. Then we go further. With letting go of attachment, we also have to let go of ignorance. So that means we need to have wisdom. We need to have the wisdom, the clarity of doing the right things, taking the right decisions. We can't be shaky and confused about our lives. So we are not in samsara only because of attachment. We're there because of ignorance also. We don't really realize the true nature of reality. So we need to work on our ignorance as well. And then we need to work on cultivating compassion.
What is the true nature of our soul, ma'am?
Our true nature of a soul, according to the Buddhist understanding, is that it is pure. It is clear, like clear light, compassionate, all-knowing, calm.
Then why are we all acting somewhere completely opposite to it? Or we tend to act?
Yes, it's because our true nature is clouded by our kaleshas, by anger, by jealousy, by ego. It's like water is pure and then there is dirt inside the water. And all of these unwholesome thoughts and tendencies are the dirt in the pure water. But that's not the true nature. That's why the water can be purified. It can be distilled.
By a higher power like a guru?
Either with that or with the guidance of a higher power. You can do some practices, you can do meditation, and you can remove your mental debris.
Yeah.
You can remove your afflictions. You can first recognition that I have afflictions. I have anger, jealousy, attachment, ego, grasping, self-centeredness. And then once you have the recognition, what can I do about it? That's why we say then taking refuge in your Guru, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. What makes Buddha a valid source of refuge? Why should I take shelter in the Buddha's teachings? Because he's walked the path.
Yeah.
He has shown us the entire pathway. That I don't think there's anybody who would have been born in a more wealthier family than Buddha himself. He's born as a prince in a royal family.
Yeah.
And that too born to a Chakravarti king. And he himself was a very beautiful man and very well trained in all the arts to become a king himself. At his birth, the Mahasage had said that he is going to become an enlightened being, a sadhu, a great sage, or a Maha Chakravartin king. Right? It was prophesied about. What is that made Buddha turn his mind away from the luxurious life of a royalty and turn his mind towards renunciation?
Awareness.
Yes. He saw some triggers in society and he wanted to get to the bottom of it, the truth of life.
Who am I?
Why am
I here?
Exactly. And what is the truth of life? Are we all born just to live this whole cycle, birth, aging, sickness and death? Or is there something more? Is there a way out? And he did find a way out. And that findings has become the path for us. If he has done this out of his great compassion, he's laid the way for us. And especially us, we call ourselves the great legacy holder of Arya Bhumi. We should at least explore our texts and see what is there for us. You tell me, if someone tells you this is a short guidebook that can lead you out of samsaric suffering forever, would you not want to at least turn a few pages and see what's in there?
Oh, I would reread it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just to put it into a bit of a context here, back into our context, that if we do not pay attention to these building blocks of a spiritual practice, renunciation, compassion, giving rise to Bodhichitta, and now Bodhichitta.
What it exactly means?
Just to say in a nutshell, it is basically this great aspiration generated by a being called Bodhisattva to become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So I'm not just engaging in these spiritual practices or dhyana or study or contemplation just for my own salvation. It is to help each and every sentient being to come out of suffering. So that mind that holds this aspiration, this level of compassion is so amazingly potent and pure that it says, even if you have harmed me, I hold this thought for you. May you be free of suffering.
Wow. Now that we talked about the dirt that lies within all of us, and there are two aspects that we talked about. One is the awareness, our own awareness, which makes us let go of that dirt and realize the purity of our soul. And other is a Guru Tattva, a higher Tattva. Why do you feel there are so many souls who do not even question themselves about the awareness part? They never even get to know that they have some negativity, some dirt inside all of them, and which I think breaks them for moving towards their own growth and their own purity as a soul.
Yes, what obscures us, from reaching our true potential is perhaps this is the question, right? Like what really prevents me from realizing it is basically ignorance.
Yeah.
And ignorance has many levels. One is very benign form of ignorance, which simply is that I don't know something, right? So now we have a tool called Google or something, and we can just go up online and check and get the information. The other aspect of ignorance is that I don't even have the impetus in me to figure out or find out. And then the third kind is that I know something and I very strongly believe that what I know is the real deal without even exploring it.
That's our ego?
Yes. Whatever I've learned, whatever has been handed down to me from generations is the real deal, and that's it.
That's enough.
Yes, it's enough. But we don't question, but is it serving any purpose to me now? Is it helping me undo my patterns? Is it helping me come out of my misery?
Yeah.
Is it helping me elevate myself to another level of understanding? Has it made my mind more open and more compassionate? Or is my compassion selective? And this is what we normally, unfortunately, end up doing, We have transactional compassion. We have misplaced sense of compassion. We have selective compassion. I'm good to you because you are good to me. I'm repaying your kindness. But I will have difficulty in being kind just selflessly,
Yeah.
So So you see, we are limiting ourselves, and somewhere the block is coming from the ego, and the fact that the ego has three very great modes. The very first one is, and then think it, and we can maybe explore it more.
Sure.
The very first one is denial. No, I'm fine.
Nothing's happened.
Yeah. And this denial goes from everyday activities to someone would say, you don't look too well. No, I'm fine, everything. You ask somebody, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Everything is good. One level of denial. The biggest sense of denial that really harms is that this doesn't happen in our households. This doesn't happen in our community. This doesn't happen in our tradition. So we live in denial. The other form of ego that really harms us is blame. Anything going wrong in my life, it's because of them. I'm unhappy because of my husband. I'm sad because of the way my boss treats me. Blame, it's all outside there, Society, government, family members, we have any and everybody to blame but ourselves. And the third one, and the worst kind the ego can play with us, is called guilt. It'll always put us in this thought process that, oh, this is happening to me, I'm a bad person. It makes you feel very, I deserve to be going through suffering.
Yeah.
We don't take, we start taking karma as a punishment. Suffering as a punishment, rather.
We do. Not as a process of our own evolution.
Yes, but we say, oh, it's a punishment. I'm being punished.
Something is being paid off.
Yes. But in a negative way. It definitely is being paid off. We should be happy about it. But we go into a self-pitying mode.
Yeah.
These are all function of egos. And if we have understood or brought in some amount of awareness to these modes of ego, is only we can then say, what can I do about it? The only difference between an enlightened being and an unenlightened being is that when they get triggers of this nature, they work on it. We get the triggers and in forms of some kind of a crisis, whether it's emotional or mental. But the moment we feel better, we stop doing our practices. The moment we feel respite, we go back to our old patterns. So in some ways, we are only short-circuiting our true happiness. If the ego has been checked, its seed will weaken eventually. And it has to give rise to clarity and understanding. And we will consciously start doing things that don't put us back into the same pattern. The water can be distilled of its impurities.
Once we stop ourselves from limiting our own selves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once we also understand that the true nature of any being is Buddha nature, is purity.
Surely, ma'am. Ma'am, I feel why so many people believe that Buddhism calls them. One would be, the biggest reason would be, I think they feel that Buddhism sort of have those healing powers, just like the mantra that we talked about. It has a sense of healing power around it. And when we think of healing and Buddhism, one deity that comes to my mind is Ma Tara. Ma Tara is known for her healing abilities, and she is the one who responds so quickly, as much as I have read and I have heard from people, that once you call her, she's just there to respond. You just need to call her from all your heart.
Yes.
So what makes her so powerful? What makes her so special? And where does she stand in Buddhist Tantra? Or, if I put it more correctly, Vajrayana is one of the forms of Buddhist Tantra.
Yes. So, first of all, what makes Ma Tara, Arya Tara so powerful, and why is that her practice brings us so much, release and relief and help. It's the motivation.
Okay.
And the motivation is based on Bodhichitta. So just to give you, there are many stories prevalent about Mata Aryatara, and there are 21 forms of Tara. The most commonly practiced are green Tara, Shama Tara, and white Tara, Shweta Tara. In the Buddhist canon, in the Vajrayana practices, they also say Aryatara is the mother of all the Buddhas.
Okay.
And not that the Buddhas were born out of her womb. No, not in that regard. So I'll track it back. So Aryatara is the enlightened energy, Buddha energy, in a feminine aspect.
Okay.
Yes. So in enlightenment, whether you say now in the Buddhist worldview or otherwise, there is no male, female. You know, it's gender neutral. Enlightenment is enlightenment.
Yeah. It has no gender.
Yeah. So then Aryatara, Bodhisattva Tara, when she was about to touch that moment, she said, she took a vow, I will always manifest in a feminine body to help beings. So what happens is now, you take all your punya. How do you help somebody else? Your money has limitation, your power has limitation, but your punya is the biggest currency here.
Beautiful.
Yes, and then she said, all the punya, all the merit that I have cultivated thus far, with all my generating bodhichitta and true motivation for helping other beings, any being that calls upon me, I'll be there. So in the aspect of Aryatara, especially green Tara, there's one leg is folded in and one leg is out on a lotus.
Yeah.
You know, it's like quick action.
Yeah.
If you call my name, I'm there for you.
Yeah.
So there was a princess much earlier in one of the royal kingdoms, and from her childhood she was very, very inclined towards a spiritual path and practices. So she made a lot of prayers. She would do a lot of prayer and offerings to the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas with this aspiration that may I become an enlightened being for the benefit of all sentient beings. And it was so pure and powerful that she did. So when she did, she said, I will take upon me whoever calls upon me. I am there for the person. So Aryatara releases a person from 8 fears.
Wow. What are those 8 fears?
Yes, I will come to that. Now, fears is because what is really trapping us in samsara? Grasping, ego, and then fear. Our ego is able to thrive in us because we have fear.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense.
So fear from, they say, fear of the lion or the tiger or the snake, and these are related to our afflictions. Ego, jealousy, self-centeredness, and then fear of the floods, which is greed, then, fear of thieves, or in the olden days, dacoits and bandits, that's ignorance. So they were linked with these aspects of it. So imagine now you call upon the mantra of Tara, and when you recite and you do this, it clears away the obstacles. So whether you are a sadhak, you are a practitioner of Vajrayana, you are a lay person, or you are a renunciate and a monk, if you call upon Tara, your subtle energies are moved and changed. And it helps you progress on your path swiftly. Not many people understand this, that even if you don't do anything, you don't do any sadhana or any spiritual practice or any kind of virtue, you will go on taking births and rebirths and births and rebirths in the samsaric cycle.
You'll be stuck in this loop of forever existing.
But if you say, I want to move from it swiftly, so what is the most swift energy that we have? Quick energy, wind energy.
Yeah.
So it moves with our pranic energy. It moves with our energy of air. So Tara mantra, when we recite, we're purifying our internal airs, our winds. That's the subtler aspect of it.
Okay.
Outer aspect is that it is taking away the gross level of purification of our ego, jealousy, and all the other afflictions. And the subtler wind energies are, cleansed. Your channels are cleansed. Your chakras are cleansed. So you're becoming more and more attuned with your own Buddha nature.
Yeah.
And the more you recite the mantra, the more the purification. And in my personal practice of Tara, I feel that there is no more compassionate and protective energy that you can invoke than her.
Wow. Just, when we look at the picture while we were doing off the camera, there's this, like a woman who's trying to protect her children and this youthful energy.
Yes. And that aspect of Tara that we saw is always, you will see, it's called the Sabhogakaya aspect, which is a very blissful looking appearance, very vibrant, very beautifully decorated with jewels and ornaments. And there's a very pristine aura around her, All of that is doing what? Why that particular aspect? Especially that is very easily rolled out for people to practice. So that, we are governed by our five senses. So it appeals to each of them. And it inspires you to be like her. It inspires you to cultivate the qualities she has. So it is nothing external. It is basically using her imagery, her mantra, her seed syllable to invoke your own enlightened energy that's within you. So you create something external by your imagination or by looking at an image, but you invoke it internally. Then you become a living embodiment of compassionate energy.
Wow. Now that we talked about invoking her, I'm sure many of the viewers would have this question. For them who are getting introduced to her for the first time, like how can they connect with her? Does her mantra needs initiation? And what are the different mantras, beginner level mantras, which can be recited to connect to Ma Tara? And how would we feel her presence?
Okay. So like I had said earlier, Arya Tara has 21 forms. And the most popular form and the easier one to call upon is a green Tara, Shama Tara. It comes from, there are 4 classes of Tantra in the Vajrayana cauldron of Tantras. This one comes from the Kriya Tantra practice.
Kriya Tantra, okay.
Kriya Tantra, also translated as the Action Tantra. So when we're saying Action Tantra, the focus is more on external, the focus is more on slight ritualistic aspect of it, and the focus is on a lot on cleanliness. So there is a little ritual aspect to it also. So I will not go much in detail about Tantra right now because then that's another kind of whole talk and podcast. When we approaching Kriya Tantra, it is best to have taken an empowerment from a master. In this case, a Buddhist Lama or someone like His Holiness Dalai Lama or anybody else of his stature, and from somebody who's done the practice. Then generate Bodhichitta in your mind. That's the foundation. And then aspire. So whatever you are praying for, whoever you're praying for, it comes true. Then it kind of fruitions in that way. So a person who's doing it should not just mindlessly hold the mala and recite mantra by not paying attention. You connect with the aspect of Tara within you. You spend time and you purify and cleanse your internal winds. Then you are manifesting and reaching to the goals that you're aspiring for. When you do the practice of Arya Tara, anything from your mundane obscurations to obscurations in a spiritual practice, any and everything is taken care of. But the motivation is the key here. It should not be done for self-centered motivations.
The right intention.
Yes. So the mantra goes, you must have heard it, but we can, if you like, we can recite it together.
Yeah, sure. I would love to do it with you.
Om Tare Ture Swaha. Om Tare Ture Swaha. Om Tare Ture Swaha.
Wow.
So this is the mantra of Aryatara, Om Tare Ture Swaha, and invoking the energy and the blessings of Tara.
And what does this mantra actually mean that we just talked about?
So like I said earlier, Aryatara helps us release ourselves from the 8 fears that we have. So this mantra basically emphasizes, so we call upon her Om, the enlightened body, speech and mind. So Om is, also common in the other tantras in the Vedanta or Hinduism. So Om, the enlightened body, speech and mind. Tare is calling upon Aryatara by her name Tare. Tutare, releasing of the 8 fears. Ture is like ripening the mind stream for enlightenment and uplifting the person from the afflictions. And Swaha is like seal, sealing the intent. So that's a very generic, basic meaning of Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha.
Okay. And while I was reading on the different forms of Tara, and you yourself said that there are 21 forms. So we've talked about Ma Green Tara. I've also read like these deities are represented by different colors, like red Tara Ma. So what do they actually represent, and why like different colors are given to their names?
Okay, so basically all the color aspects that we see are all sort of representing each and every mental affliction and the purified aspect of it.
Okay.
Red is generally associated with magnetizing energy and power, so it can be also associated with desire. So when desire is totally purified, it is very magnetizing, it's very attractive. So Aryatara in the red aspect is bringing you that kind of a power and energy. Green is associated with swiftness, quick movement. Like a mother is always very quick in helping her child. White is associated with purity and long life and longevity. Yellow Tara is associated with wealth.
Okay.
So there are different 21 forms because people with varied dispositions need varied kinds of help, And there is also Rudra Tara. There is a very dark aspect of Tara, a very wrathful aspect, almost similar to Kali.
Okay.
So where she's a destroyer, but she's not destroying you or me or beings, she's destroying the egoic aspect, of the mind. So there is going to be a blissful aspect, there is going to be a Rudra aspect, a wrathful aspect, there is a very sadhvik kind of an aspect, where Tara appears to be like Saraswati, full of knowledge and wisdom. Of course, each aspect has all the other elements and qualities and, as we say, alankars in her. But specifically when they're coming in a particular way or appearing to a particular person, it's to maybe nudge that one element more strongly.
Definitely, ma'am. So much healing energy that we talked about in the form of Ma Tara. And now that we are talking about healing, and I think to put a beautiful end to this beautiful conversation, I would love to know for my audience from you some more healing techniques or some more healing meditative practices that they can use, in a day to connect with the mind, body, and soul from a Buddhist perspective?
Oh, that's beautiful. And actually, healing is one of my very liked topics for discussion, favorite topics.
You're a born healer.
So there are different modalities in the Buddhist canon as well. We have a sutra of Vaishajya Guru, which is also known as or translated as the Buddha of medicine. And it is a very beautiful sutra whereabout the entire healing modalities that we have on Jambudvipa has all originated from there. Be it pranic healing, be it modality of Ayurveda, anything that you pick up for healing, allopathy, homeopathy, healing modalities, the basic thing comes from this beautiful sutra of medicine Buddha. And the mantra is also very simple, and anybody, it's also coming in the Kriya Tantra practices, can practice it. You spoke about Reiki, and I discussed Reiki with you, and it was rediscovered by Dr. Mikao Usui, a Japanese monk. And when he traced the sutra back, that he got in his meditation, he found the root text in the Medicine Buddha Sutra.
Okay.
Yes. So that's one aspect of it. For regular people, I say, even before we touch something as potent as Medicine Buddha Sutra or the sadhana of MAA, the very basic thing that needs to be talked about and touched upon is mind training, thought transformation. If the mind is full of egoic patterns and activities, even the healing modality will be tainted. Anything we will approach will have a taint of that. It will be corrupted. And here is a healing modality. First, you train your mind to be humble. You train your mind to have this immense sense of compassion. So whereupon you train your mind, and there are these 6 verses of mind training, and the practice is called Lojong, thought transformation. And they very systematically break down your ego. And when you reflect on them, if you have done it diligently, really ego has no place to thrive in your mind anymore. And building on that practice, there is a practice called Tonglen. It's a Tibetan word, Tonglen, which means giving and taking. It's a beautiful practice, but it should be only attempted by seasoned practitioners, whereby you're using your breath. I offer you my punya, and I take your afflictions onto my breath and giving it to my self-cherishing thought.
Wow, really?
Yes. So with my breath, so with my out breath, I offer you all the punya that you need. With my in breath, I take your problems and giving it to my self-cherishing, to my ego. So basically that in breath then is visualized as a black ball, or a black suit, or a black smoke, and I bring it to my heart center and I say, I'm feeding my ego, and ego breaks. Because ego will not like to be given what it looks like, the mirror thing. So imagine now offering somebody all the merit and taking their pain upon them, oneself. To be able to do this kind of a healing practice, to be able to engage in something of this nature, the mind has to be elevated to a certain level of understanding of karuna. Otherwise, it can seem like, how can I take this person's headache? I'll end up with a headache.
Exactly. That's what especially sensitive people do.
Yes,
they take up on people's energy and they feel it.
Yes, but that's why I said it has to be done by some level of advanced practitioners. Once you have had a good understanding and good practice of mind training, a little bit of good cultivated platform foundation of karuna and bodhichitta is when you practice this. There is nothing magical about it. It is just that a pure form of giving. And of all the healing modalities, this one is my personal favorite. So on that note, I say, may all my good merits ripen upon you, and may I take upon myself anything that bothers you.
And now that we talked about meditation, I think it would be injustice to some of the viewers who are watching this podcast to get some sort of meditation out of it. So for them, I would love to do a little meditation technique with you here that anybody from my audience can also do throughout the day to feel that calmness within them.
All right. How about we do something which anyone can practice,
Sure, ma'am.
irrespective whether they believe in Buddha Dharma or not.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So how about we do a little brief meditation on mindfulness of breath. So this is coming from Anapanasati Sutra,
Okay.
and whereby we use our breath as the tool of meditation. So where we focus on the in and out breath. And so first of all, we sit in a comfortable posture, keeping our back straight. And if you can sit in a folded posture, great. So आप बिल्कुल आराम से cross-legged बैठिए, या अगर आप cushion पे एक आसन पे ऐसे बैठे हैं, chair पे मेरे जैसे. So just keep your feet firmly on the ground and take a few deep breaths. So make sure just your back is straight and aligned, and you can keep your eyes either totally closed or partially closed. If your eyes are partially closed, have your gaze looking downwards, and your hands can be either on the knees like this in a dhyana mudra, or they can be in the samadhi mudra. So the right is over the left and the thumbs are together, and you place it in your lap. This is the samadhi mudra. So take a few deep breaths. Exhale. And as you exhale, bring your mind here in this moment. We do a quick body scan, so bring your attention down to your feet. And all the way up to your calves. Bring your attention to your pelvic area. Take a deep breath and bring your attention to the base of your spine. Elongate your spine, roll your shoulders and drop them down. Bringing your awareness the center of your eyebrows. Relaxing your face, your eyes. Just take a few breaths to scan your body parts and relax your body. And now simply become aware of the point at the tip of your nostrils. Just feeling this sensation of breath moving in and out. Bring your mind back to your breath. And it's very important to generate a motivation before doing our practice. So we may generate a altruistic motivation, reflecting upon what's the true purpose of my life, and how can I align my life in a way to achieve it. How fortunate that I'm alive today in this moment. To be able to help all other sentient beings, I must first learn to cultivate my own true potential, to become a Buddha, so that I may be of true benefit to all sentient beings. Therefore, I must get rid of all my afflictions, and generate and cultivate Bodhichitta. Bring your mind back to your breath and simply be aware of your breath. And we can continue to do this practice for as long as we have set the timer right. Say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. And slowly, when you come out of this practice, releasing, relaxing your posture. And ending the practice with a form of dedication. So whatever merits I may have generated by having done this practice to cultivate my true potential, by attempting to calm my mind, I dedicate that to the long lives of my kind gurus. I dedicate my virtues for the harmony, peace, and protection of all sentient beings in all 10 directions. May there be no wars, diseases, or natural calamities. But whoever sees me, touches me, thinks of me, or even calls out my name in anger, may even that being be freed of suffering instantly.
Beautiful. I can already feel that calming meditative state, and I went to some deeper state, I feel. And I'm sure so are the people in the audience who completed this little meditation with us. And I think it was lovely, ma'am, that we got to know the deeper aspects of Buddhism, the deeper aspects of Ma Tara today with you. And it was a wonderful discussion. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much, Rangoli, for having me over and for initiating this beautiful talk. I really had a good time. Thank you.
So you let me know in the comment section, did you also feel that meditative energy within you? The intention of this podcast was to make you more aware of the true nature of our soul, giving you a deeper understanding of what renunciation stands for, what truly is enlightenment from a Buddhist perspective. So do let me know how much did you relate with this podcast, and also let me know in the comment section what more topics would you want us to cover with ma'am in the coming podcast, and share it as much as you can, and I'll see you in next one. This is your host Rangoli. Namaste.